What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost, and last night, pretty late, James Mangold wrecked some people. So James Mangold, most recently in the news as potentially rumored to be Steven Spielberg's replacement in Indiana Jones 5. And obviously he also had a great award season with Ford v Ferrari. He did direct that movie, which got a lot of critical acclaim. Now, he wrecked a couple people, and specifically Ron Howard for spreading fake news, and IGN and Wesley LeBlanc, the author of this article, for making fake news. So let's get into it. I thought it was pretty interesting, and shout out to Geeky Candy, who is the one that alerted me that this was going on. So thank you. Make sure you check out her channel. But Ron Howard tweets this out yesterday. The Mandalorian Season 2, James Mangold, Robert Rodriguez to direct parts. Bryce Dallas Howard to return from IGN, and then shares the article. Now, I can only assume that Bryce Dallas Howard is actually returning if Ron Howard's tweeting this out, just kind of to boost the message and let everyone know. I don't personally think anyone should be excited for that. Her episode of The Mandalorian was one of the weakest ones, for sure. Did not feel like the rest of the show at all. But that is besides the point. The point is that James Mangold quickly responds. James Mangold says, "Hey Ron, I'm so pleased if it's true about Bryce directing another part of Mandalorian, but I can tell you it's not true about me. Not doing it, never discussed it. And I suggest fans should look at who's reporting this and make a note that these sites present conjecture as fact." Boom. Now, I will also we're going to look at this article and see exactly what they said and how they updated it. But it is true. We talk about this all the time. These articles like Screen Rant, comicbook.com, CBR, it is all just full of, they might take one thing that one person said and write an entire article that does kind of state it as fact instead of just complete rumor. And that's what they're in the business of doing. They're in the business of getting people to click, and that does often work, but it's also just shady as hell. Now, it's funny. Taika Waititi immediately responds to James Mangold. He says, "Don't lie, James. Be proud of your Mangoldorian Christmas special." And that got a lot of responses from people in there. But yeah, absolutely. James Mangold fired back immediately. Now, someone, I wish I had been able to find this. This person responds to this tweet that's now unavailable. Now, this is from Wesley LeBlanc, the guy who wrote this IGN article. Now, he says, "James Mangold has now confirmed this is not true. I assume this is when he was sharing. Where did you get your information?" Another tweet that's not available. James Mangold responds to this as well. "I don't really need to tell you, but a source is not another gossip site without a source. A source is, a source, like someone who knows something." So he is just trashing this author. Now let's actually go and look at what he wrote. So here it is, and it's still titled the same way. The Mandalorian Season 2, James Mangold, Robert Rodriguez to direct parts. Bryce Dallas Howard to return. Now here's the update by Wesley LeBlanc about, 30 minutes ago. Update. James Mangold has commented on Twitter to say he will not be directing any part of The Mandalorian Season 2. He also states he has never even discussed doing so, presumably with Disney. Yeah, of course, presumably. Yeah, thanks, Wesley. Great reporting there. Now that he had to officially respond to you on Twitter to figure this out. What an absolute joke. But let's take a look at why James Mangold is saying that he's just using other clickbait sites. Original story. James Mangold and Robert Rodriguez, and again, this is the original story that is no longer true and never was true. James Mangold, Robert Rodriguez will direct parts of Season 2 of The Mandalorian alongside Bryce Dallas Howard, who is returning to the series after directing an episode in Season 1. Blah. According to a report from Screen Rant. Screen Rant, through these other two random sites, and this is the problem, right? So Screen Rant wrote this article that basically is saying the exact same thing. So IGN just took an article from Screen Rant and basically reposted it as their own. What Screen Rant did is took an article from here. This is how the media works. Screen Rant took an article from here, StarWarsNews.net, who reported James Mangold and Robert Rodriguez directed parts for The Mandalorian Season 2. Bryce Dallas Howard returns. And of course, where did they get their information? This information came from our friends Black Series Rebels, who talk about it on their latest episode. So Black Series Rebels, right here, this is where it officially came from originally, evidently. This is a channel with 3.33 thousand subscribers. So that is where StarWarsNews.net made a video from, which then Screen Rant picked up, which then IGN picked up. And I wonder who's going to pick it up after IGN. That's how all of this works at this point. It's just when you actually like track it down to its source, it's like, okay, well, maybe it's really not that reliable. Now, to be fair, I don't know anything about Black Series Rebels. This is the first time I've seen their channel. I will check them out. See maybe where they got their stuff from, you know, how this happened, but it's very true, or it's very clear that that information is wrong, because James Mangold himself has reached out and said he is not in Mandalorian. He has not ever talked to anyone about being in Mandalorian, and that's that. So I think it's funny to see him call out mostly the media. You threw Ron Howard a little bit for sharing it, but obviously Ron Howard was sharing this for his daughter, Bryce Howard. But he went after them pretty hard, enough that this dude deleted his tweets. I wish I could have found Wesley LeBlanc's tweets and what he said. And you could see a lot of people saying, Wesley, just take the L and move on. No use defending lies when the man himself is saying he's not directing and won't. So obviously Wesley LeBlanc was a little butthurt about this, a little defensive about his sources. And then James Mangold, that's not a source, has to teach the guy who writes articles for IGN what an actual source is. But that's the news there. James Mangold just wrecking him on Twitter. So just need to make a quick update. So as I was editing this, I'd actually fully processed the video, getting ready to upload it. I checked on Wesley LeBlanc's timeline, and over the 5 minutes that I was done recording this, he has protected his account. So obviously he's getting a lot of blowback, and rightly so, for just reposting trash article after trash article. Guess he can't handle it. He only recently started working at IGN. Maybe not the best way in like your first week working at IGN, have something blow up so spectacularly in your face. But there you have it. Wanted to let you guys know that Wesley LeBlanc has protected his account. Good thing he's got his pronouns right there in his bio. I guess no one can really interact with him because he's protected now, but if you need to know, he, him, guys. He, him. Wrecking the fake news that's coming out so often. But that is that. Now, it'll be interesting going forward to see if Robert Rodriguez was also named in there. Haven't seen anything from him confirming whether that's true or not, but we'll see. Mandalorian Season 2, I can't say it's the thing I'm looking forward to the most in the world, especially with Bryce Dallas Howard returning for an episode. Doesn't sound like the best idea to me, personally. But let me know what you guys think about this. I always think it's interesting when you get the big guys, the big guns coming down and actually responding to these trash, garbage tier articles for exactly what they are. And we really had that with James Mangold. And do you think that he didn't mention anything about Indiana Jones 5 or anything like that about being in talks for that? Do you think that is a potential? Do you want to see him in the chair of Indy 5 now that Steven Spielberg's no longer directing? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video out there, ring the bell for notifications, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.